when you do the overall judging, you are going up against all the girls that won their classes. So it's all of the best girls in the categories. So you have A, B, C, D, E, E, F, G, So all of those winners are all battling it out for the first place. Like the overall whole thing just came together in that moment. All the work and all of the mental preparation, like it just came together so seamlessly. And
today I got to sit down with my friend Maddie. Maddie is an amazing human being. She is a bodybuilder, and in her second ever competition, she ended up winning the whole thing. We break down this story of her journey into that competition and her journey to get her pro card and become a professional within the bodybuilding space. Let's dive deep into this conversation. This is The Inward Mind. Welcome to the Inward Mind podcast. As per usual, this is Billy M. Ward, and I have my friend Maddie with me, and she is an epic person. If you've ever seen her, met her, follow her, she's pretty cool. She does bodybuilding competitions, and I'm not talking about strong, big Arnold Schwarzenegger level stuff. It's more bikini focused, and she won a competition a little while ago. It was the 2023... What was the name of it?
Steve Carr Classic. Yeah, Las Vegas Classic.
Yeah, explain how that whole process was. Like, how was that? How was the experience down there? You ended up winning the overall, which is epic, and you're a rookie doing this, right? This is like
pretty much, yeah. It was my second show ever.
Yeah. So explain more about that. How did that go? How did that start?
Yeah. So I was kind of in and out of prep all throughout this last summer. So my first competition was last April. So a year ago, yesterday, right? Today is the 16th.
Yes, 17th.
So 2 days ago, it was a year ago that I had my very first competition. And I was kind of in and out of prep all year, trying to figure out what show would be best aligned with my schedule. And I wasn't just, I don't know, I was kind of in and out of the mental space there for a minute. So I kind of had to step back, and I was like, okay, I wanted to at least do one more show before the end of the year. So we're like, okay, let's just shoot for November, maybe get nationally qualified, and then potentially go to nationals to get my pro card. That was the plan. So I picked a date, and it happened to fall on 11/11, which is pretty cool, just recurring numbers, whatever, you can say spiritual or not, but I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, all right, that's the date, 11/11. It's just every time I see it on the clock, I'm like, okay, that's the day I'm winning. That's the day. So I started prep, and luckily I didn't have to kill myself doing tons of cardio, because I'd stayed relatively lean in the last 4 or 5 months, which really helped get into that space easier and kind of just flow right into prep and peak week. So peak week was actually not as bad as my first time around. We cut back on cardio, and we upped my food, which was amazing. That's best case scenario, getting to get more food and carbs and less cardio. So you just flow right into show day. So that week, I did a lot of reflecting, and I just felt super proud, because I almost backed out of that show even, but I was like, no, I just got to do it, one more show. And so Nick and I left on Wednesday, Nick, my husband, and the show was on Saturday. So I had a few days to kind of get down there and get into the groove and get the food that I needed, find a good gym, and just do what I needed to do to prepare myself, which I'm so glad that I had the opportunity and the time to do that. So yeah, I got down there and just kind of hung out, just did the motions, kind of toured around Vegas a little bit, walked around and kind of stayed low. And the show day came, and I was really, really nervous because my coach wasn't with me, and it was just me, Nick, and my mom and my brother. So it was really nerve-wracking to not have her there, and the security of her kind of keeping me calm, because I'm just in my head that whole day. You're just comparing and seeing all these other competitors and wondering if you had done enough work, and there's always those thoughts. And so it was really, really scary being there by myself. Luckily, I had a room at the resort that the show was at, so I was able to kind of seclude myself and just get right and chill out. So that was really cool. I feel like I would recommend doing that. Get a room at the place that the show's at. But show day came and it actually went by pretty fast. It's just time is fleeting, and I'm trying to think, like, all the emotions that I had, like just relief and just going in there, like I love prejudging and I love being on stage. I feel like I grew up on stages because I was a classical musician, so it was like in second nature. Like I love being up there. So every time before I stepped on stage, I just said a quick little prayer, like fill my heart with confidence, God, like bless me on the stage and give me this confidence now. Like, so I walk out there and I just like nail my posing, like just bam, 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 like immediately moved to the center for all of the judging. And it was like, well, is this real life? Like, is this really happening? Because in your mind, you want to stay as calm as possible and like not get too like, oh, I'm winning this thing. Because you never know, last second, the judges can just change. So I was split center when we left the stage, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this could be it. Like I could be winning. So the day goes on and finals finally comes and I do my routine. And before I left to Vegas, my posing coach, she's like, when you go out there for your finals routine, like slow it down, like let them take you in, because you don't have very much time up on stage. It's like, get up, hit your poses, get off. But she's like, take advantage of this time. Don't rush through it. Like really take your time here. Let them see this molded body, this art that you have created. Like let them admire almost. And so I just remember there were some technical difficulties for finals before I walked out stage, onto the stage, and the music was like not going. So it was just like silent. And I was like,
pressure's on.
Yeah, I was like, okay, do I just go? Like, what do I do? And they kind of got the music up and going, but it was like so quiet. Like, I couldn't hear it. I was just so laser focused that now I look back on the videos, I was like, okay, good. They did have a little bit of music, but it was so like quiet in there. I remember walking out on stage and everyone was just so quiet, like not even a word. And I'm just up there doing my thing. And I felt so confident, like my chest was so high and like it just felt so calm. Like my spirits, my angels, God was just blessing me then on stage. And yeah, I got done and walked off the stage and I was like, I think I might have just like won. Like that moment was like the cherry on top. Like the confidence, the whole thing just came together in that moment. All the work and all of the mental preparation, like it just came together so seamlessly. And then they did like the finals, like call out like first, second, third or whatever. And it was such a surreal experience, winning the overall, because when you do the overall judging, you are going up against all the girls that won their classes. So it's all of the best girls in the categories. So you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know. So all of those winners are all battling it out for the first place, like the overall, the winner of the winners. And it was a pretty tough competition. Like we were up there what felt like forever. The judges just kind of turning us and going back and telling us to walk towards the back so they could really just take all of us in. And like it was tough competition. And I felt confident, but it was still scary. Like, it was still scary. Like, you never know.
So when it comes to the process, just kind of taking a couple steps back, because you said there was pre-judging and then there was finals. Mm-hmm. So can you kind of walk me through the process of how that whole works? I have no idea. I've never like been to a show or anything before. So
I had never known either until my first show. I didn't know how it worked. So pre-judging is when they do everyone. So I was in class like D or something like that, and I was also in a novice class, which is like you had never won before. Because my first competition, I got second place. So I wasn't able to qualify, or I qualified for the novice category. So I entered into novice and open. So they have you walk out on stage and you're all standing next to each other. There's like 8, 9 girls all side by side doing their front pose. And then they'll be like, okay, turn to the back, face the back. So then you do that, you face the back, and they're analyzing the hourglass frame, the glutes, the legs, the tie-ins. And then they flip you back forward to the front, you hit your front pose, and that's when they kind of start moving people around, like, okay, number 2, switch with number 4, and that way they can see different people next to each other and compare those people, and then they'll switch another person and compare them, and then they slowly narrow it down, and the people splitting middle are what they are looking for. The package that they think in their mind is what bikini bodybuilding looks like. So when you're splitting center, that's like best case scenario when you walk off the stage. So you do that, and then for finals, they come back. So prejudging is everyone. Finals is your opportunity to do like your routine, single, just yourself, with no like comparisons. So we all have that opportunity to come out and like just showcase ourselves, single. And that gives the judges one more chance to really decide who gets that first place position, seeing us just up there in our stage presence. That's super important, is stage presence. Because if you don't have that and you like look like a baby deer up there, they're like, ooh, that doesn't really showcase what we think this category is.
Absolutely.
Like, you could be the most ripped bodybuilder or like bikini bodybuilder, but if you don't have your stage presence or like you're posing on point, it's tough, man. Like, you're out.
Yeah,
if
for sure.
Not posing you, then you're out.
So when you say your coach wasn't there, that's interesting. I've never really thought. So like they basically shift you towards the middle, mm-hmm. and then you got the individual you walk out. So when you said your coach wasn't there, how do you feel like? Because I believe that having coaches in anything is really, it's very valuable, because it'll help you get steps way further along than where you'd ever be by yourself. So how did that affect you positively in the fact that your coach wasn't there? Did it give you more of that, now I have to build this confidence by myself? Was it kind of like, hey, here you go, like, you have to figure this out all by yourself? Did that bring more confidence to you in there? I know initially it was scary, but after the fact, looking back, did you think that brought more confidence not having your coach there, or do you still wish your coach was there?
I definitely feel like it did help build my confidence and not depending on someone to hold my hand. It's like, have you ever traveled outside the country by yourself?
Never. I've never been outside the country. Not yet. There's plans to, but I haven't, not yet.
I would compare it to that. It's like when you go outside the country or you travel with someone, you have someone else to kind of help you along, and like you have two brains, right?
Yeah.
And when you go outside or travel the country by yourself, you just have yourself to depend on. And that can be really scary, but it builds significant confidence.
That's great.
So I feel like it really did show me that I don't need her standing there to actually do a good job. And if anything, it proved that I'm capable, like, more than enough. So
yeah. So yeah. Being the overall champion, is that with faced with everybody? So that's talking about like all the people who've won competitions before, or this is just like, that's like the biggest badge of honor is winning overall, right?
Yeah, the overall is like, out of all of the bikini girls there, true novice, and weathered bikini builders.
Awesome.
So yeah, but finals, I was kind of saying, like, so you come out, do your routine, and then they decide who's the winner of all of the open classes, and then they do one more like side-by-side comparison. That's the only time that they will do another side-by-side in finals, because normally they do all the side-by-sides in prejudging. So in finals, they'll have all of the open winners come out and kind of battle it out, and that's how they decide the true overall winner, the best of the best. So yeah, it was kind of a crazy experience. And so right after my show, it was like such a whirlwind. Like I was getting pulled in all these directions because I had just won 2 classes. Like, well, technically 4 classes because I won my overall novice class, overall open class, and then I won my novice and open. So it's like you have those underlying classes too, and then the 2 overall. But I was getting pulled every which way because like they're like, come do an interview, come do a photo shoot, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Like I need a moment. I most of all just need some water.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't drank anything or eaten hardly anything all day. Because like that whole day you do not want to. I mean, depending on your coach, that is, you don't want to just fill up on a ton of water because like you dry out the whole week. Like you deplete yourself. And so, yeah, I was just like, I need water first before I can do
give me some water and I'll go take some photos.
So my husband got me this like coconut water that they were selling, and I was like, that was the best tasting thing I think I've ever had in that moment.
That's so good. Oh, man. Coconut water, especially when you're dehydrated, is the stuff. I love coconut water. No, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So when it comes to prep work of how to get there, break that down, because that's just I've been around you multiple times when you started going through prep, and it's pretty intense. And I've watched you. I filmed Nick and Maddie's wedding. Nick was a past guest. I filmed their wedding, and it was a great whole experience. But that day was her cheat day. She got to eat some of her wedding cake, and it was awesome. But kind of explain that prep work, because it's some people are like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, bodybuilding sounds cool. Like, what does that even look like for most people? Like, so just going to yours, but what does that look like?
Yeah. For me, I feel like I like to follow a meal plan. I do best without guesswork. I do best, like, my coach just tells me what to eat. It's pretty basic, like X ounces of white meat or X ounces of lean red meat. And, like, I can swap those out, like, white meat for, like, fish or, like, lean pork chops or something like that. Like, there is some wiggle room there, but I feel best having that meal plan because there's no way you can fail in that way. Whereas if you're counting macros, there can be some discrepancies in that. And I don't want to even risk that. Like, yeah, you can figure out what works best for you, but for me, like, definitely just following a meal plan, like, there's no way you can go wrong on that. So that's what my kind of, like, beginning of prep looks like. Get a meal plan worked out with my coach, figure out how many calories, and decide how we're going to do the cut, when to start carb cycling, and kind of go from there. And every week I'll usually pick a day out of the week that I'll bulk make a bunch of meat and a bunch of vegetables. I love having frozen food on hand. It's just easy to pull it out of the freezer and, like, sous vide. That's what I've been really loving lately, to bulk prep my meat, because it's kind of like a crock pot, but not.
Yeah, sous vide's good. It's a good way to cook food. It's cooking things in a bag, basically, for people who don't know what sous vide means. So, like, so do you like prep it in like a Ziploc bag and then just throw it in some water, make it easier? Yeah.
I honestly just like the chicken bags from Costco. Yeah. Like, I literally just I don't even cut the chicken out. I just put the bag.
The whole bag.
Yeah. And it works. I just kind of like, I'll rinse off the chicken when it gets cooked, because it has all the juices and stuff that is cooked kind of on it. So I'll kind of rinse that off and, like, make it look nice. Get all the gross stuff off, but that's been so convenient. I don't have to worry about the gross chicken juices, and it's just so convenient, and it's so juicy too. I've been loving it. So that's easy for me. Just having that kind of prepped for the week. Then, you know, if I have something coming up the next day that I need to have all my meals planned, I just portion X amount of meals, like 4 or 5 meals out to take with me for that day. Or if not, like, if I don't have much going on, I'll usually just eat per meal, like, as it comes, like every 2-3 hours, it works for me. Different people do it different ways, but I feel like that's the best way, having it on hand, and that way my husband can get it too, because it's like I'm cooking for him as well most of the time, so he just grabs it out of the bag or out of the little Tupperware, and we both are eating healthy. So
what is your typical meal? Because you said chicken. What else goes along with the prep meals?
I'll kind of tell you, like, I'll read it to you actually.
Yeah,
so like, top secret information.
Oh no, you guys are getting the inside scoop here.
So this was last prep. My meal, like from meal 1 all the way to meal like 5 or 6. So I started with an egg with egg whites. That was with, veggies. I put like a handful of like a spring mix in there with some like red peppers just to kind of give it some flavor. And I also season everything. Like,
what's your go-to seasonings?
For the morning, everything but the bagel seasoning.
Yes.
And a shiz ton of salt and pepper.
Interesting.
I think it's best on eggs. Like, I feel like I've tried so many seasonings, and I really just like pepper and salt on eggs.
My go-to is pepper, salt, and garlic. That's usually all garlic. I do. Besides that, you can ask my wife. She literally everything is like those things. I'll make it with those. She's like, "Why does it taste so good?" I'm like, "I did it with 3 simple things, and that's it." So it tastes good.
Yeah, people just overcomplicate things, and it's like, no, you don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's meal 1, and then meal 2 is anywhere from like 3 to 5 ounces of chicken or turkey breast, just lean white meat. And if I'm not carb cycling, I'll usually do some jasmine rice with some veggies or like a side salad. So, and with the salad, I don't do like dressings unless I have like a little bit of Greek yogurt. I'll like put that on there as like a sour cream substitute, or like I'll put some ranch seasoning in the sour cream or in the Greek yogurt and make my own little ranch dressing.
Yeah.
And it's healthy, high protein.
Yes, absolutely.
And then meal 3 is very similar to meal 2. It's just another 4 ounces of chicken or turkey breast, just lean white meat. But this time it's usually like my post-workout meal. I'll get some healthy fats in there, like avocado or almonds or almond butter. If I'm running behind on like protein, maybe I'll do another egg or something, because eggs have great healthy fats in them.
Yeah.
And then some more veggies. So it's like veggies every meal. And then meal 4 is a little bit different. I like meal 4 because like I love red meat, and that's my option to have the red meat, or I can just do like chicken or salmon. So I usually will mix it up between salmon and red meat for sure, like, because I love it. With another little bit of jasmine rice and veggies. And then for my last meal of the day, I can usually choose to do egg whites and another egg, or I can make like a protein shake. I usually will do a Ninja Creamy. Those are
Is
like
that the machine that makes the ice cream out of anything?
Yes.
Me and Abby were talking about one of
Love
those.
it.
I want one so bad.
Love it. Literally saved my life the last 2 preps, and it's going to save my life this coming prep. I asked Nick to get it for me for Valentine's Day because I was in the middle of my first competition prep, and we both just loved it.
I just want to make ice cream out of random things.
Yeah,
I just want to try it and see what's the weirdest flavors that I can get out of that little Ninja Creamy. I'm all about it.
There's so many yummy flavors out there, and like you can make anything into it. You can freeze just like a bunch of fruit in there and then just blend it up, and it's like bam, you got some Dole Whip.
Oh,
like
dude, Dole Whip. So
it's
good.
Crazy.
So good.
But yeah, so that's pretty much what it looks like. I eat lots of tuna. I like tuna. I like the little like packages to go, because I'm just always on the go, and those are just, I need my life to be easy. So if I can make my life easier with these food options, it's not a hard switch. You just take it.
So in the midst of that, with all those meals, so you said that you had 5 meals. Is there a time frame? Do you do like a specific, say, I know like some people do intermittent fasting where they only eat like a 5-hour span. How does that work when it comes to prepping for your competitions? Do you eat like throughout the day, every few hours, or does it have to be within a certain time frame? Or how does that work out for you?
Technically, I intermittent fast just because I sleep so much, because I work at the bar at night. Yeah. So I don't get home till like 2, sometimes 3, and then I don't wake up and eat until sometimes 12. So it's like I have that little bit of time in in between. So I'm not like constantly eating. My body has a little bit of a break to finally just like digest and get rid of whatever it has. Yeah, it worked for me really well, but I wouldn't say I like intentionally.
There's no intentional schedule on it. Cool.
I don't intentionally intermittent fast, but I do try to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Like I feel like my body, when I get in prep, I get into a rhythm, and I just have this inner clock that says, okay, it's time to eat again. And it works really well. So as long as I get all my meals in, sometimes like if you're really busy, this is a rare occurrence, but I will smash 2 meals in together, like combine 2 meals. So it's like one big meal.
Cool.
But that's pretty rare.
So throughout the process of prep, is it typically, because I remember, I think you said 3 months is usually the process. Is that typical for it?
It really just depends, like how much body fat you're wanting to lose or how much muscle you're wanting to gain. So
is that your longest prep so far, is 3 months or?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think so. So it was January, February, March, and then middle of April is when I had my first prep, and that was like 16 weeks, a little over, or 18 weeks or something like that.
A little over 3 months.
Yeah. So not bad. I feel like that's pretty average. A lot of people can do really great with that time frame. This next prep that I'm going into, I told my coach I wanted to do another like 18-week prep, so I'm not like running myself into the ground with cardio.
Yeah.
Just because it was my bulk season, so I have a little bit more body fat than I would like right now, and I don't want to just like kill myself doing so much cardio.
I loathe cardio.
Yeah, I know.
I when I used to play rugby, like we used to run like 5 miles ish a day, and I think about that, and like I'm like, oh, I hate cardio. I hate cardio. It's not something that I want to do all of the time. So you going a little bit back, you were talking about that you were going for your pro card. What is a pro card? Is there like in a question with those competitions? Can you make money like winning with what you did, or do you need a pro card to win money? Is like what is a pro card? Where does that go to?
That's a good question. I feel like for me, pro card helps with legitimacy as an athlete. It shows that you're like super determined, obviously, to go and like do something like that. But it does help having a pro card for like sponsorships, which I hope to gain in the near future. Having a pro card means that you can compete in these higher level competitions amongst other pros. So the competition is way more intense, but you are able to get paid if you win. Whereas these NPC, which NPC is what I'm in now, there's not many that you can get paid for winning. It's definitely more of like, I do this as a hobby, whereas a lot of pros do it kind of as a job, I would say, kind of per se.
Professional athletes, right?
Yeah.
It did turn into a job. So
yeah, you're able to have a lot more opportunities to travel. So it's just more opportunity having that, and higher caliber relationships in that aspect.
How do you obtain a pro card? Do you have to win a certain number of events, or how does that work?
So you have to win your NPC show, or I think first or second place in an open category. So I qualified my first time around, and also I qualified the second time around. So I'm 3 times qualified. So it's just first or second place, and then you go on to nationals, and you either get, it depends on the show. Sometimes they do just the first place in your category, or first and second place. And then obviously the overall winner will get their pro card too. So does that make sense?
Yeah. I get kind of where you're going.
Either first or first and second, depending on the show you go to.
Cool.
You get your pro card.
Well,
but it's like you're going up against all of the winners.
The best of the best.
Yes.
Yeah, that's always
so
intense.
You want to be the winner of the winners, because that's why they're all there. They have all won or gotten second place. So it's all they're better than most.
Yeah.
So
competing against the best. And it's
Yeah.
going to be a whole new level of competition. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited you got it. I know you got it. And, there's one of the questions that I had that I was writing when I was writing some questions down is like, what got you into this, and how do you keep your mindset in the right place? Right. Because me personally, I love sweets. I got a sweet tooth. I would have such a hard time prepping. Like if you're talking me 18, yes, I've done it. Yes, don't get me wrong. I did a thing last year where I only did one sweet treat a month. I can do it, yeah. But my mindset would hate that. I would hate the fact that I'd have to like, oh man, I can't eat sweets for 18 weeks. How do you keep yourself in that right mindset to be able to do these competitions?
Well, I feel like picking a mantra, something that you can fall back on. And my mantra for this last show was stay in your lane. Like, just put blinders on and stop with this outside chatter. Like, stop comparing yourself. Stop seeing what everyone else is doing. You need to almost create this, like, happy bubble and stay in it without the interference of the outside world. So stay in your lane was, like, my big, like... That's really what helped me to just have the confidence, because I know I'm putting in the work and that's all I can do. Stop comparing. So that's kind of like the mentality there. But when it comes to sweets, like I'm right there with you. I have a huge sweet tooth. I feel like the more that I eat healthy, the less I'm craving sweets. I do feel like in prep, though, it does get to an extreme level where it's like you start craving things that you never thought that you would crave, like just an orange or like like just a soda. I don't know. It's just so random. And when it's like you probably didn't even eat those beforehand, but you're craving them. I feel like for me, I really look forward to my cheat meals because that's my chance to like go and have that cookie or like go out and have that smoothie or go and have the burger. But then again, it can be detrimental because your body starts craving that, and your mind, you're like giving your mind what you're wanting. So it's a fine line. It's like a double-edged sword almost. So you gotta be kind of careful with that stuff. But I enjoyed my cheat meals a lot. Like that was when I went on date night with my husband and we got to go and enjoy food. Because I feel like as humans, we bond and gather around food, and it's like a love language. Like people, it's an emotional connection when you get to experience food with someone. And so I feel like just removing the emotions out of it, and like that is the hardest, removing the emotions and just being there while everyone else is enjoying the food.
Yeah. That's intense. Yeah. Like, man, because you got to go against what everybody else is doing in the moment, which is definitely a hard mindset for anybody anyways. So we're going to wrap this up here in a second, but I have one last thing to talk about is you've moved into doing coaching now, right? How's that going? What have you experienced as far as now transitioning from being a novice to now coaching people on how to do this?
My experience so far has been great. There's always going to be people that you kind of like butt heads with, but I feel like in the long run, it's helping me grow. It's really teaching me though, like how different I view things than other people. Like it's so crazy to me to think that people out there are still drinking full sugar sodas when it's like there's options now. Like there's so many options, but it's like people don't realize how many options there are. And it's like I feel like I've really stepped into the shoes of being an educator rather than like a coach, because I feel like I'm not like, I don't want to be hard on people. Like sometimes people do need that, and there's a time and place. But I feel like most of all, people just need education. And that's been kind of something that I've been learning along the way is like people aren't going to do what you tell them to do unless they know why. Like, why are you having me eat this? Or why do you want me to have breakfast before I work out? Or, you know, it's a learning curve for everyone. And I'm really excited to step into this coaching space. and just learn more overall, because there's just so much information, and it's my job to help these people just stay in their lane. Keep the outside distractions away and just follow something, because I feel like analysis paralysis is the main thing people are running into in today's world, because there is just
so much information. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I run into that a lot.
So that's what I'm experimenting with right now, is just kind of helping them, and I'm learning and they're learning, and I feel very passionate, and like I definitely have a lot of emotions around it, because I want to help these people sometimes more than they want to help themselves, which is the hardest thing. And I want them to realize how important it is to have health. And it's really just a mindset.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you can't want it for people.
Exactly.
Man, the amount of times I've used that in my life is that you can't want it for people as much as you want stuff for them. But where can people find you on the interwebs so that they can follow your journey? Because you're going to get your pro card here at Nationals. Yeah. I'm confident in it. I believe that you're going to do it. So where are people going to find your journey at?
Usually on Instagram. I also have a Discord channel. I might open up to the public, so we can keep posted there. Yeah. It's where I just post like random tips, and like I'll be posting my documentation of my show, my prep. And then I also have a TikTok. Both of those handles are Mad Cats with a K7. Mad Cat 7.
Mad Cat 7. I'll link those below too, so that you guys can double check and get the right spots. But Maddie, thank you so much for joining me on the Inward Mind podcast, and I really appreciate you having you on.
Thank you. This was awesome.